Greetings my repairing friends. Well, I'm just about to try and attempt to do my low pressure fuel pump when I discovered this on the ground. I don't know how easy it is to see, but this is actually brake fluid, and I've seen now that inside my car it looks like this dreaded pipe has finally corroded and is now leaking. So one of the jobs that I was kind of avoiding until I absolutely had to do it was repairing these solid rear brake pipes that corrode, and now I'm going to be forced to do it. So I guess you're going to be getting a video of how easy that is to do at some point. So there you go. Land Rovers, they always keep you busy, don't they? So better found and safe than sorry. And obviously when you've got anything to do with brakes, you've got to be ultra vigilant that you are going to fix that. So that's the next thing on the list after the low pressure fuel pump. So we are underneath the car. It's quite tight under here. This is where we start. We're going to remove this heat shield. It's got various bolts on it. There's some over here, there's one there, and there's one there. So we get that off to start. The actual fuel tank itself I think only has about 6 bolts. So we will reveal those shortly as we take everything off. And don't forget that one in the middle. Right, so we have a few things that we need to pay attention to. This is the pump for the fuel burning heater. If you don't move it out the way, when the tank comes down and drops, if we can see close enough, then it will snag on that, and you don't want to rip that off. There are 2 bolts at this end, and then if we follow it along, there is 1 bolt hiding up here, and then there is another bolt here at the back, the rear. So this is the rear of the tank, and then there is one here on the, so this is on the side that's closest to the outside of the car, and then there's one here, and I think that is it. 1, 2, yeah, so that is 6 bolts in total. So there's not many to take it off, and then when you are lowering the tank, you want to get 2 jacks, probably best way to do it, and let it down. So at this end we have to undo the fuel filler pipe, and then up here, which are harder to see, but you can see there's a yellow bit there. There is a clip there that you pull out and drop the connector out, and then there is another one which is harder to see, but I think it's possibly this one going up underneath, that's got the white writing on it. That has got like the pushing connector on it, so you push either side of the tabs and it disconnects. That one was harder last time I did it, so this time I've invested in some of those pliers that hopefully I can get in there to take it off. And also, just as a note, I don't know how easy it is to see from there, but I can see my brake fluid dripping, so I'm gonna have to make sure I keep away from that, because that is disgusting. So yeah, once you've disconnected the various parts, then you're ready to go, and I'll explain about the caution to take when dropping the tank. I suppose the other thing to note is that across the top of the tank is the emergency handbrake release cable as well, so you just got to make sure that you unclip that. There's some clips on top somewhere, if I can see them. Yes, so up here there's a clippy clip. There's a few of these. Just make sure that it's disconnected. These are those pipes coming down further, and then you can see where they kind of turn and go into the fuel pump housing. So that's what we've got to do next. Right, that's nice and easy. 7mm on that one, so that's just undo the Jubilee clip and slide it back, and then when you're ready to disconnect the fuel pipe, it comes off fairly easily because it's just push fit. I'm not going to do it right now just to avoid any contamination. But this yellow one's easy, so there you go. You just literally get your hand on it and pull it down, and there you go, unclipped. Drops down really easily. Pull it down so that you know that it's free, and then if you pull the pipes, they just separate out. So it's difficult to do with one hand, as you can imagine, but I'll sort that out in a second. Now I don't know how easy it is to see anything in here. Can we see? Right, hang on. Get the light to stay in one place. So round here, if I can find it, is, and if you can see where my hand is, these things here, springy things. Although I said about using the pliers, I'm not sure. I remember this being a bit of a pain to remove, but you've basically got to get both hands round. I've taken the wheel off this time because last time I did it and I just sort of lurched over the wheel and nearly gave myself a heart attack. So we've just got to get in there, but it is, you know, it is hard to see. Right then, I'm just going to disconnect this fella. It's got a little bolt at the top, so just undo that bolt and then you can move it out of the way. Otherwise, when you drop the tank, it just snags and gets caught. There you go, and we've moved the little sod out of the way, so that's an awkward thing, but there you go. Once it's out of the way, it's not going to cause a problem. Once you're at the point when you are ready to take the tank off, I just start to loosen the bolts, because obviously it makes it a bit easier and you haven't then got a nasty surprise. And once I've loosened them all, I'm going to pop the jack underneath, and I might take this one out because it's right in the middle, and then it means that we can crack on with our tank dropping. So, you know, it's all very methodical. Just keep going slowly, and then you get there gradually. This is not a job to rush, and as we drop the tank down, we're going to be very careful not to snag anything, and also not to pull on anything, because there's a wiring connector and various pipes that are connected. Okay. I find this helpful. I've got a modified jack where I've got a piece of well, a couple of pieces of sort of MDF on the top, and they can go along this bit. Over here it drops down, so I'm going to use my other jack on that side. So you see it sort of curves down a bit, so it is flat, it doesn't just keep curving, but then this gives a nice support here, and then you can sort of slowly lower both jacks a little bit at a time, and it just drops the tank down nice and slowly and safely. But you want, you know, that support there so that it doesn't rock around and fall over, because if it sort of drops too quickly, it will be a big headache. So that's just a piece of advice there. And also I've got some cardboard and bits on the ground just to make sure that it doesn't crash or grind around on the floor. I know it's got a you know, the tank protector on it, which is this big metal bit that's underneath it. They should be captured, these nuts, and but last time I took it off, some of the capturing sort of washers had rusted away. So you can see they're actually not too difficult to get out, because I've had the tank off a year ago and I put lots of copper slip on, so that, you know, just in case, I would have that access to be able to replace it. I have bought some stainless steel nuts to replace these ones, because they are getting pretty corroded, but you know, it's not the end of the world. But I'll you know, I'll see how I get on. I might put them back or I might not. So that's that one. And then if we go over here, there's one up here. These are 13mm, by the way. So you can see that one's captured, so it's not going to fall out, that one. But you know, not all of the captures obviously work. I'm just going to carry on with them. There's the two over here to deal with, and then I've taken the one off from the inside, and then there's another two at the other end, but you get the idea. So once we've got the tank down, I use a couple of pieces of wood to slide the tank out. So these are the got the fuel pipe send and return, and then over here we've got all the gubbins of the where the actual fuel pump is housed. We've also got these pipes at the back, which are going to need a little bit of just freeing up so that they will come out, because we disconnected them further up, but last time I found these a bit awkward. So the pipes are sort of clipped on around the tank. There are various clips and things. I'll show you those better when we get the tank out. And also I did go around the other side and I disconnected the wiring sort of where it's clipped on, because otherwise it puts a lot of stress on the wiring connector. So I'm going to slide the tank out and then we'll have another look. There you go. So once you got it so far pulled out, so if we go back, this is pulled out here. Doesn't help that I've got side steps, so makes it a little bit harder, but I pulled it out. The front is still in a bit. Just keep an eye on these, the fuel send and return, because there's a bit of tension on those. Don't want to pull those too tight, and this is the one that you really want to get off, which is the wiring connector, which is the most thing that gets the tightest. And obviously you don't want to snap the wires, it's just a clip that you push and it pops off, so that can go away. And then these breather pipes at the back, you know, we're going to get those off. That one is just another little tiny Jubilee clip. That one's clipped in and is easy to take out. These you have to be more careful with, because they've got very delicate clips, but we'll go into that in a minute. And this is the pipe for the fuel burning heater that heats up your car in the winter. So we're nearly there, nearly got the tank actually extracted. It's just slow, so you have to just take your time. And this is what we're trying to get to, this module here, so we can get it out and extract the fuel pump. And I also forgot to say, there's like this sticky foam pad here, which the three pipes that go up, the fuel send and return and the fuel burning heater pipe. So you just have to peel that back, and then you can release the pipes from underneath it. Otherwise it makes it impossible, obviously, to pull the tank right out, because the pipes are stuck under it. So now I've done that, I can actually rotate the tank out and pull it, sort of pull it out this way further, and yeah, you can see that it comes relatively easily. And a bit of wood stuck, but so we're just basically getting to the point where we can rotate the tank out and get access to the little clips in these fixings, which you've got to be very careful with. I'm going to say again, because otherwise you break those, you've got to buy the whole fuel module. Just take off this breather hose. Just to mention as well that these were missing from, these are the clips that are actually on there when you take it apart, and they clamp in and keep everything held in. If I can do it, put one on. Sorry, like that, and then they clip in like this. Now when I put it back together last time, I didn't put these back on because I did it a bit wrong, so this time as I do it I will reinstall them, but they do come out nice and easily if you need to pull them out. So, and then they clip back in nicely, so keep hold of those if you've got your memory going. And the other thing was, last time when I took out the breather pipes, or I didn't take them out, I left them hanging in the frame kind of thing, and it meant that they were much harder to put back in because I hadn't pulled them out. So because I pulled them out this time, I'll be able to clip them back into here, and then get on with the job. So these are things that I've learned from doing it last time. The other thing is, down here I've put a glove over the fuel filler there, just to keep anything nasty out. And then I'm going to put some little covers on these fellas. These little clips in here, you need just sort of delicate small screwdriver to get in, and once you kind of get the screwdriver in and lever them apart very, very gently, they do come out quite nicely, but it's just a little bit sort of slowly again. and it's really hard to film. One. Two. What I'm going to do is put some glove fingers over these to keep them nice and safe, and then just do a little cable tie so that they are protected again from any nasties that might try and come in. So these are just nitrile gloves that I've chopped the fingers off of that I've used, but on the inside they're clean and dry, just so that we're not introducing more rubbish into the fuel system that we don't really want in there. Otherwise we will get ourselves in a bigger pickle, because we will be repairing something and making it worse at the same time. There you go. So they've got a little bit of protection now. So a little bit of fuel spilled out of those, but not much. So we're kind of disconnected now, so we can move the tank without any real issues. And I'm just going to pull it out a bit more and then continue. Before removing the ring, the holder ring that lets you take out the this assembly, I'm going to what do you call it? Give everything a bit of a clean, WD-40, just brush around and get, you know, any contaminants out of the way. It's not actually that dirty because, like I said, I only did this a year ago, so it hasn't built up all those years of stuff on it, but it's still dirty enough that it needs a clean. And there's a bit of stuff hanging around in here. Obviously you've got to be careful of these as well and try not to make sure that nothing gets introduced into these. And on them it does give you the indication of a return and send. Okay, so I have got the tank out and removed it into my garage because I don't want it to get wet in the inclement British weather. I've generally cleaned up around here, and we've got to undo this Jubilee clip. When I first did this job, the Jubilee clip had a security cap on it, which I kind of thought was a massive problem until I realised. So I undid it with some mole grips, and then I realised that in the cap was a little hole in the middle, and if you stick a screwdriver, small one, in there, you can undo the Jubilee clip. So just words of advice, and then I just ground off the security thing, so it was just a normal Jubilee clip. So you clean around here. The liquid in here is just brake cleaner that needs to evaporate, and I'm going to leave this fella overnight because I've reached my limit now, and we are going to come back tomorrow, hopefully bright and refreshed, and continue with the job. So there you go, we are sort of about halfway through. I've got to remove this bit. We'll see in the tank there's the actual fuel pump modules in there. It's sort of over here a bit when you look in the tank, so we'll look down the hole, get a good shot of that, and there's a clip that needs to be removed on that, and then we can extract and continue. And when you take this off, there are a few pipes underneath that need disconnecting, so that will happen tomorrow. So stay tuned,